Hello everyone, my name is Chris McIntosh. I help teach the capstone courses. Today we're talking about the rationale section of your paper. We're working on the final paper portion of your capstone. In this video, we'll cover elements of the introduction to your paper. Rationale is a Level 2 APA heading in this paper. The rationale section discusses informal or formal frameworks, models, concepts, and/or theories used to explain the problems, any reasons or assumptions that were used to develop the interventions, and reasons why the intervention was expected to work. The Squire explanation and elaboration page provides a nice example and additional explanation. Note the examples they provide don't follow APA formatting. You will need to use APA formatting for this paper. The rationale section highlights the importance of making the theory underlying the project and why it's expected to succeed explicit for the reader. Both well-defined theories and more generalized frameworks are acceptable for improvement projects. Explicit use of theory or framework increases the likelihood of being able to identify why a project is successful. You should be citing literature regarding your rationale and demonstrated effectiveness in other contexts. I provided more guidance in the instructions for the rationale section in the paper template. Identify the theory used to guide the intervention of your project and summarize the main elements for the reader. It is useful to include a diagram of the theory if one is available. Describe how the activities of your project align with the theory. The Plan, Do, Study, Act, or PDSA cycle is commonly used in quality improvement work. This is also a relevant place to discuss any reasons or assumptions that were used to develop the interventions of your project. You should cite literature about the theories you reference. We're placing tables and figures at the end of this template. There's a tables and figures section after the references section and before the appendices. Tables come before figures. Tables and figures are numbered according to the order in which they're first mentioned in the paper. Table numbering starts at 1 and increases for each new table. Figure numbering also starts at 1 and increases for each new figure. Table numbering and figure numbering are separate from each other. Remember, there are resources available to help with your writing. I discussed these items in the last video, but I'm including them here to remind you the resources are available. You can see a fuller description in the notes for these slides. These literature search resources may help you find relevant literature regarding theories or frameworks. I discussed these in the last video, but I'm leaving them here so you have a reference. There are more AI literature search tools available than ever before. I discussed these items in the last video, but I'm leaving them here so you have a ready reference. Fuller descriptions are available in the notes on the slides. You should edit your work before turning it in. I addressed these editing suggestions in the previous presentations, but you should be following the same editing process for all the sections of your paper. Examine the structure of your paragraphs. A fuller description of what we've discussed before is available in the notes for the slides. The following slides review AI editing resources. I also discussed these items earlier, and I'm leaving them here for a reference as you work on this section. You should be editing for structure and organization. You can see a fuller description for these editing notes on these slides. I've included a series of prompts that you could use on ChatGPT to help edit your writing. I would use these prompts on individual paragraphs. At most, I would try with a single action, with a single section of a paper. Remember, you alone are responsible for the content of your paper. These prompts are only a guide. There isn't a guarantee that ChatGPT suggestions will be an improvement. If you find a prompt that works particularly well for a task, please share it with me. You should note in the methods section of your paper that you use ChatGPT to help edit your work. If I use these prompts in succession, I would take results from a single prompt and fix the output to say what I intended, and then use my corrected text with the next prompt. You should be editing for grammar and style. You should be editing for clarity and conciseness. You should be editing for consistent tone. I'll reiterate what I said before about references and ChatGPT. The writing in the rationale section should be supported by literature citations. While I endorse ChatGPT and other AI tools for editing purposes, I strongly caution you about using them to make up content. If you ask ChatGPT for references, it will make up fake references to provide you with an answer. Do not use any reference in your paper that you have not actually looked up yourself. I check all references. If I find references in your paper that I can't look up myself, you will lose all credit for your assignment. Using non-existent or fake references will be considered academic dishonesty. Making assertions in your paper that are not backed up by literature citations where they should be can be considered plagiarism. That's all we'll do in this video. There is more to come. Here are the references for this presentation.